Hello, people of the new earth. Welcome to Ascension Connections. I'm your host, Andrew Genovese, and today we have on Danielle Matthews, and we're going to be going deep onto ASEA. She's a diamond executive in the company, has had, Danielle has had such profound experience in her own healing journey with ASEA and knows a lot about this beautiful product as she's been involved in it for a number of years. So, excited for this conversation and excited to be fairly new, only less than 6 months, be involved in this beautiful company because I believe so firmly in what it can do if it was literally to be in every clinic and hospital in the world. So, Danielle, I'm so happy to have you today and welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, Andrew. I'm super happy that ASEA has found its way into your world and that you're able to bring it to those that you care about. And it's a wonderful thing. I think 6 months in, you're still just at the tip of the iceberg. You're going to be unpacking more and more with this, and I mean, it's going to give you goosebumps along the way. It has for me. It still does. 8 years into drinking this, I still am like, wow, what do we have our hands on? It's powerful.
Yeah. I genuinely feel that too, and yeah, it still feels like very new for me, only being in it, yeah, maybe 5 months or something like that. And for every person that does take it, they're like, "Whoa, this stuff's really is the real deal." And I'm like, "Yeah, it truly is." I wouldn't be so passionate about it because I truly live for just making this planet more conscious, more whole, and more healthy. And obviously, our health is directly connected to our consciousness that reverberates throughout the planet, and even more than that, throughout the universe. And I think ASEA is such a huge step in the right direction for every person to get their hands on their stuff, regardless of where they're at in their health journey, whether that's really poor or extremely healthy and vibrant. So, Danielle, I want to get into kind of what drew you to ASEA and your own healing journey years ago when you were in a pretty challenging place in your life. So I'd love for you to get into that.
Yeah, I'm happy to share. It's so interesting. Tomorrow is actually the 10-year anniversary of.
What? Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy the timing of this. But just so to give some insight into that, I was hit by a drunk driver and sustained an injury to my brain that it pulled me from my life. I went from being very vibrant 23-year-old, working, having a great time, living my dream life out in Colorado, getting to snowboard on the weekends. And all of a sudden, I found myself unable to concentrate for extended periods. I had really severe pounding in my head. I was dizzy. I was sensitive to any sort of input. So we actually had to put like blackout fabric on the windows because natural light was too much and I couldn't handle it.
Wow.
So I was isolated, not because I wanted to be, because I had to, couldn't work. And it was interesting. I ended up having to move back in with my parents and focus on trying to get myself well. But the traditional medical community didn't really have answers for me. They kind of said, well, with this type of injury, could clear up in a month. Then they said 3, then they said 6. And meanwhile, they're not offering any, they were kind of like sit at home and wait. And I thought, well, no, there's got to be things. So I'm exploring a lot of alternative things along the way. And even in the alternative space, I mean, I did hyperbaric oxygen treatments. I did neurofeedback. I tried a lot, supplementation. But at the 1 year mark, I still really hadn't improved much. If I had been a 10 out of 10, maybe I was like an 8 out of 10. And my neurologist said to me, he said, look, with your type of injury, your body's done the healing it's going to do. And this is just your new normal. And you should shape your life around this and just move on. And I thought, well, you're fired.
For every person that's been told that throughout the planet, especially the US, just that this is just what it is. It's just
It's
like,
amazing. Like this mindset, like, oh, it's chronic. It's going to be here. And I'm like, no way. Like our bodies they have everything they need to get back into balance. Like the design, the blueprint, if you will, it's all there for us. But sometimes like, we don't have the right nutrition going in, or you don't have the right signaling. The body can't find the damage. And that was kind of the situation. And, for me, it's like that the damage that was there just wasn't getting repaired. So,
right.
and I thought, like I'm, at that point 24, and I said, we're going to find an answer. And had no idea how many other people sat in that neurologist's office and took what he said as reality and therefore have a very different life now, you know. But it's interesting, Andrew, because the solution came through an acupuncturist, and I almost missed it. She started using the ASEA in her practice, so this pretty blue bottle that's behind me. And she approached my mom and she said, "Look, I'm using this with all my clients, and all of them seem to be getting benefit, and they all have different things going on." And she said it doesn't seem to matter if it's, things with their digestion or hormone modulation or, their nervous system. She said it's just stimulating repair. And she said, I believe it could help Danielle. And, I was resistant to it. I'll say at the beginning, I thought it sounded too good to be true. I thought it sounded refined salt water. I mean, I couldn't wrap my head around how something so simple could be so profound. And I think I had lost a little bit of hope. I mean, I was 2 years out from my accident and still not well. And so it was hard.
Yeah.
But, yeah, ASEA ended up being a powerful solution. So once they got through my my stubbornness, it was in our house. My mom had bought it and she used it. She went from, having a lot of stiffness in her joints, unable to make a full fist, to just all range of motion coming back, that stiffness clearing up. And that got my dad's interest. He starts using it. And, within like 10 days, a knee injury he'd had from 30 years prior playing football, all of a sudden he's not having to wear his brace, right? He's doing more in his workouts and he's going, what is this stuff? And that's when we did a deeper dive and learned there's some research to back this. And also the experiences people having are just, it's like just the proof is right there in front of you. And they said, look, let's try it. What's the harm? And Andrew, I'll tell you, it wasn't immediate for me, but about 3 months in, my world started to change. That pounding in my head stopped. I started to be able to concentrate again, have energy again. And, since then, like in the months and years to follow, everything has sort of alleviated and I've been able to get my health back. And once that happened, I just thought, the world needs to know about this. And, my accident woke me up to a lot. The fact that there is more to this life and more to be aware of, and the power of what we're doing in the now. Knowing that our time is limited. We don't know when won't come. So that's why I decided to partner with ASEA. I just said, look, this is going to change humanity. I know. And it's going to lift each of us. And I think because we're all connected, if I can get my health and my energy and my vitality strong and high, it's only going to serve to lift everyone. And then if I can help others, use the ASEA, get their health back, what a ripple effect we can make.
Yeah, when I found this, I think that was so present for me too. What you just said, I was like, God, this is almost like too simple.
Yeah.
How do you explain this to people in a way like, yeah, it's literally like salt water essentially, and they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I have to literally sometimes kind of give a buffer. Like, you know what? Sometimes I'm learning more about it too, of how it's so simple. But all I can tell you is that it works because people are taking it who are really sick, and they're seeing dramatic changes for some people within literally 2 weeks, and for some people within 8 weeks. But in the grand scheme of time, it's very condensed of the profound changes that can happen with this product. So Danielle, can you explain a little bit kind of just about what it's, if someone was to ask you, what is ASEA? It's made of salt water. What does that even mean?
Yes. I'll give you kind of the sciencey answer for those that want that and understand the biology.
Please.
And then I'll give an analogy that when I heard that one, I went, oh, okay. This makes sense. So our body is saline, right, Andrew? We go to the ER and they're going to hook us up to a drip of saline. We cry salty, we sweat salty. And so our cells are just sacks of saline and our body's really smart. It uses the building blocks of sodium and chloride in salt and hydrogen and oxygen of water to make a bunch of different molecules. So the body takes sodium, chloride, hydrogen, and oxygen, and it just recombines, and it makes a lot of different what are called reductants and oxidants, things that end up with a net negative or net positive charge. And those molecules have a role in the body, and they do different things. And what's interesting is that they're made in our mitochondria, which you guys it's the power plant of the cell. This is where the energy comes from. But mitochondria get less efficient as we age. And so we make less of these redox molecules over time. That becomes an issue because redox molecules are the signaling system. So the way I think about it is the analogy I would give is they're kind of like the construction workers who are coming to the job site. Okay, so if you've got damage in your home, and if your home is older, like there's more things going wrong, right? Just like us humans, more things
Right.
pop up with age. These redox molecules are like the construction workers who come to the job site, and they come and they start repairing. Right, Andrew? There's no issue with having more guys come onto the job site. It's just going to get the job done faster. And that's sort of what we see here. When we talk about, people being able to see results 2 weeks, 8 weeks in. It's like, well, what happened? Well, it kind of like this force of communication, right? This force multiplier. More construction workers came onto the job site, so the job got done faster. And all of a sudden, that person's going, I'm feeling a shift. Well, why? Well, that damaged area of the body had a nice alert call go out and was able to come in and get repaired. Or say it's a mutated cell, right? The body doesn't want mutated cells. It will kill it off and get a healthy cell in its spot. And so that's how I kind of look at this as to, well, what is it doing and how is salt water involved? Because it's not salt and water anymore, right? It's active reductant and oxidant molecules, but that's where it came from, just like it's where it came from in our body. And so, when I think about that construction worker analogy, at least for me, that made me go, oh, okay, I get it. And also I see why maybe a newer house, right, a younger person might not have such a need because they're kind of, but then over time, right, things they wear down and stuff pops up.
And obviously for a young person, if they do take it right, it's just going to even help them to function at an even higher capacity.
Yeah, it's interesting. Because I've been, feeling good now for years. And so people ask me all the time, why do you still drink that stuff? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like the mental clarity I have, I would even say like my intuition has gotten heightened and stronger. It's like I can crisper more clearly. I sleep really deeply. I have very vivid dreams. My energy is just like Energizer Bunny. Like I wake up alert and I just go throughout the day. And then time for bed, I go to sleep. And it's just, there's another level of health that's out there. And even, athletes, like people that are in their top health, but they're pushing their bodies. They love this because it stimulates repair faster. And so, their recovery times go down. And so it's one of these things that like, no matter what you have going on in your world, in your life, it's super powerful, what this can bring you.
Right. So in terms of someone who has maybe like leaky gut, right? If they're constipated, if it pretty much just really, would you say it puts the body back in balance, regardless of kind of whatever underlying conditions they have going on that most people aren't even aware of? It's essentially putting the body back in balance. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, it is. And what's really cool, like I went to school for biology. So when I started to like find out what this really was and how it worked, like my brain just exploded with the potential because you talked about the gut, right? Digestive stuff. Well, it's all cellular. You break it all down. Something is dysfunctional at the cellular level. Like we're just trillions of cells. And the cells in the gut and the cells in my nervous system and the cells in my heart, the cells in, my skin, what's crazy is they all talk with the same redox molecules. It's non-specific. So there's not like specific signaling molecules for, the cells in your gut and for the cells in your brain. They all talk with the same redox. And so when you drink the ASEA and you put it into your system, it's going to do something different for everybody. But as you so beautifully said, it just takes that person and gets them back into a balanced state because it's going, okay, where does this person have damage? Is it in the gut? What's not functioning properly? Is it in their immune system? All right, let's get rid of the cells, that aren't functioning well, or let's repair the cells that aren't functioning well, get healthy cells in their spot if we need to, and get everything going the way that it should again. And so what we then see is that each person has a different experience because, if you had, 10 people over at your house and you just said, hey, I don't know why you would ask this question, but if you asked, what's going on in your health, they'd all probably write down something different, because we all have something different going on in our bodies. It might be from toxins we're exposed to, things happening in our environment around us, but we're always coming up against things, and our bodies are constantly having to repair. And this just helps that happen. And so to me, it's like, that's what got so profound to me, because it's like, well, it can't hurt anybody, and it will help every being where they need it. So this is just like the potential, right? It just, your mind starts to expand and go, wow, what do I have my hands on? How can this change humanity? How can this change the healthcare field as we know it? And what it can mean for helping people to stay well and keep their bodies in a prime state as they move through life.
And as you and I both know, right, one of the biggest things that's taken place in this society is, especially in this country in particular, right, is people finally will go to someone once things are just breaking down completely, rather than actually taking matter into their own hands and continuing to do stuff that keeps them vibrant and targets longevity, rather than going right. I mean, that's one of the biggest things that's, I'd say 80% of people don't do, is like, tune up the car and
Right.
constantly work on it.
Yeah. It's so interesting, because I think, I'm 33. The only reason health is such a fun thing in my world is because I lost it 10 years ago. And I'm like, well, never again. We have one body and let's make it a good place to live. It's got to last us, through this lifetime, this physical body. And so I think a lot of people just aren't aware. But what I think is beautiful is people are starting to ask after the last couple of years we've all been through. People are starting to say, well, how is it that I keep my body healthy? How is it that I keep my first line of defense strong? What is it that I can do? I think there's more people waking up to ask that question, because they've seen, how health can just be taken from someone. So what is it that you can do? Well, to me, it's like, ASEA is almost like this phoenix rising from the ashes of the situation we've been through, saying like, look, everything's right here that can support any questions that you're asking and what you have going on. And, by no means is this the one thing, the only thing you need to do. Like, you got to eat healthy. you got to put good gas in the gas tank, and you got to get good nutrition in there. Like, there's things you need to do, but this is it's a missing link for so many, because there's no way to get detox. It's not like you eat certain foods and you get more, or you exercise, and your body gets flooded with more and more. There really is no other way to replenish your body's supply, unless your body is making it. And as we age, it just can't make as much. And so this just, fills your cup back up, gets you feeling like you did when you were younger, functioning like you did when you were younger. And what a powerful thing for those that want to stay proactive, with their health.
Yeah. I think this was what was present for me when I first found out about ASEA. So I'm a breathwork teacher. I am incredibly passionate about teaching people about their breath, and I've held space for, I don't even know, maybe close to 2,000 people in breathwork ceremonies, and there's an intelligence of the breath that puts the body back in harmony, because the body has such an innate intelligence. It knows exactly where it needs the work. So, right, if you've had an ACL injury, you'll maybe feel a lot of tension and tons of energy, like literally on the back of your knee. And the breath is like literally sending prana to all 60 trillion of our cells to start doing those repairs. So I think when I found about ASEA, I kind of made this similar link to the breath of the ASEA kind of targeting, or kind of ASEA having this consciousness that it knows where to put the work, right? Whether that's to unclogged arteries, or an imbalance in the gut, or allergies. I mean, whatever the person has going on, it kind of just goes directly to that, without having to know what it's going to do.
So beautifully said. I've heard it said before, like, it's like it wakes up the doctor within you. And all of a sudden you put this in, and it's like, boom, like the internal system of the body just knows where it needs to go, what it needs to do. And what you just said about the breath and the analogy with ASEA, I've not heard it said that way before, and I think it's beautiful. I spent some time studying with the Amrit Yoga Institute and Yogi Amrit Desai and his daughter Kamini, and I remember them saying, yogis will tell you that we as humans, we expel our life force just churning through thoughts. And when we come to the breath and we focus on the breath, what it allows it is the thoughts to go away. And so that life force can be freed up to do what it's meant to do, which is move through the body, move knots out of the body, move energetic things out of the body, and allow everything to just start flowing the way that it should, and the way that when we are connected in with source, we get back into that balance. And
Yeah.
so sometimes our physical bodies, though, like, because like things manifest, everything's energy. So, like grief, it might end up manifesting in the lung, or, a certain tooth if someone doesn't handle it, right? And they keep that emotion stuck. And so I just think how interesting that now, like, breath work is powerful to get things moving, but when you have a physical density in the body, well, now we have the redox to come in and start working on the physical being and, what's kind of like where the energy is stuck there, to help that free up again and get everything flowing again. So I don't know, a lot of connections just got made in my mind when you said that. And I think it's
Yeah. Well, beautiful. I'm happy to facilitate that. I mean, I'm so passionate about the breath because it points right. We live in a world where we're constantly externally looking out there. The breath takes us back to our own body. Oh my God, I had it all along. I never had to go anywhere outside of my own self to realize that I was powerful.
Yep.
Because people can have such profound experiences of, say someone's sister passed away in an accident, years prior, and the sister was supposed to be in the car with her driving, and she just felt so guilty that she wasn't with her sister. And then the soul of her sister comes to her during the breath journey, because we elicit our multidimensionality and the breath workshops, the dimensional breath workshops I hold. And the sister goes to her and says, "Hey, you have to forgive yourself. I'm not mad at you. I just have pure unconditional love for you." And then that allows them to just release this profound energy that was blocking them in the body, you know? And it's so incredible. I think I'm just so passionate about pointing back to people and having people take their own power back. And the ASEA is so simple. I think if a person's willing to literally just get it in their hands and they try it, they'll be like, "Wow, I can't not have this stuff." And
Yeah.
if you were to accompany like 60 days to every day ASEA, every day 20 minutes of breath work, like, oh my God, you would literally be an entirely different person.
Yes. I know. Well, it's interesting because how simple is breathing, right? And we forget and we don't realize.
Yeah,
And it's like the answers don't have to be some profound thing. It's like the simplicity
100%.
is what's so powerful. And I think it's the same with redox. And like it's fascinating because, how long can you live without a breath, without the oxygen coming in? What's interesting, you can live even a shorter amount of time without redox. If you stopped producing redox, your system would shut down like within seconds because it's how everything is communicating. It's how the whole system's running. So yeah, it's this foundational piece just as much as the breath is. So beautiful parallel.
Yeah. I, Danielle, I can only just imagine the amount of incredible stories that you've heard of and witnessed through getting this to people who are super sick throughout this time, who were told by doctors that they were going to die within the X amount, and they ended up getting on ASEA and things shifted dramatically for them. How many times have you heard of these type of stories?
So much. I tell people all the time, like, I get paid in goosebumps on a daily basis because I watch these things happen. And I actually just like 2 weeks ago, I started doing a show called Real People, Real Results. And I've been just posting it on my Instagram channel because it's like I watch this all the time, but I'm having a conversation in my home, and I'm like, no, the world needs to hear these conversations I'm having. They need to see the look on the faces of these people of what's happened. Oh my gosh, there's my mom. And it's so profound, with what I get to watch this do. And what's really cool, and I don't even know if you know this, but the topical, has anyone kind of showed you the magic that can happen with this when you rub it on different areas of the body?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I told you, tip of the iceberg. So I'll tell you this. Play with it. So you take that. It was designed for the skin, right? So it's just more concentrated redox molecules, and what it's
Sure.
doing is, helping skin cells turn over faster. So that's great. If you've got sun damage, wrinkles, cellulite, I mean, that sort of cosmetic stuff. But what's awesome is that it goes deeper. And so, people talk about soothing muscles and this kind of thing. And so I would just encourage you to experiment, and anyone listening to this, grab some and experiment. Find 10 people that have some level of discomfort in the body. Check their range of motion in a joint, something like that. Have them rated on a scale of 1 to 10, and then take it, put pea size, grape size amount, depends on how big of the area you're rubbing it. Rub it on, let it dry, do it a second time, let it dry, do it a third time. All right, so 3 applications within like a 5-minute window. And then check back in 10 minutes and see what 9 of them have to say to you. It is a fun experiment, and I will just leave it at that. And that topical, it's like the liquid can take time. It took me 3 months before I noticed anything shifting on the system level, because we're talking about cellular repair, but it's really cool when you can concentrate an area specifically and get communication to there quickly in a certain time frame, what you see happen. And so, yeah, Andrew, you got to play with that.
Yeah, wow. Amazing. I'm looking forward to that and loving hearing about stuff like that because yeah, I, I'm just really excited to get this out to people, especially for people, like my own mom, who's so deeply programmed by the system. She won't trust anything I say, even though, I am who I am and I do the work that I do. And I speak in front of, large crowds of people of 500 to 1,000. And she trusts her doctor because her doctor knows what's best for her. So it's a tough one, and at the same time, I have to hold compassion and space for her because she is among the billions of people that don't want to be open to something that isn't from the Western medical system. But I'm really looking forward to even just next time I'm with her, putting it on her knees or wherever. Her shoulder, actually, she has a really bad shoulder.
Yes.
So
Oh, tell me how it goes. Yeah. Because I think that's like my grandfather was a Westernly trained physician, and he was, super resistant also. I've seen the same thing within my own family. But eventually my grandfather got on it and started using it and had some improvement with stuff he had going on. And so there's hope. And I think
yeah,
we always have to come back to is like, look, every soul's on their own journey in this lifetime. Like, we have
right.
to respect that path. And, we know that we're in people's lives for a reason. We can share our knowledge and what we know, but we have to release any expectation of what they then go and do with it, because it is their journey. But it's tough, but that's where the work is.
Absolutely. And you and I know both that's been a huge part of the work these last 27 months or so, just needing to see beyond the body, into the eyes, into the soul, and just truly be able to honor each person for the journey that they're walking in this body, whether or not they're meant to awaken in this lifetime or not. Just seeing them as as a soul that maybe you have some souls on the planet right now that are doing incredible work that are ancient, and then some souls that are very, very, very new.
Yeah.
And everyone is here to learn their own individual lessons and took on their own soul contracts. And yeah, it is a time to be alive. For sure.
Aren't you glad we signed up for this time around?
Oh gosh, I would say 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 days, yeah, and then some days I'm like, God damn, I'm just exhausted.
That's when you walk outside, you get back into nature, and you start breathing, and you're like, yes, okay.
Oh yeah, you better believe it. Yeah, exactly. Start to just move my body and just do some different energy movements, like qigong, like movements, tap into the breath, and yeah, just continue to move into that heaviness, that anxiety, whatever it may be. But yeah, I got all the tools, more so than most people, and it's still, yeah, what we're going through is, yeah, it's a lot.
I always say, like, one of my mentors said this to me. He said, Danielle, look, be fascinated, not frustrated. And so instead of being frustrated, go, isn't that interesting? And just
Yeah.
be fascinated by the choices people are making, what's unfolding. It helps anyway. It helps reframe things for me, and yeah.
Yeah, I love that actually. I always say I always just say, guys, get excited about where we're moving, because the earth that we're going to live in this lifetime is like, it's like nothing you could even begin to fathom with the technology, the energy technology, the information that's going to come out of how this planet was created. I mean, I go deep on that. That's like my area. So that's a whole other conversation, but it's yeah, our existence in this lifetime truly is going to be nothing short of spectacular, in all capital letters.
Yeah, I believe it. I absolutely believe it too.
Yeah. Danielle, so I want to get into a little bit about, for health practitioners, for massage therapists, for acupuncturists, for anyone who's in the health space, you know, why why do you think, and this is, partly an obvious question, but why do you think ASEA could take their practice to another level, and what type of abundance could could lie out there for them? Like, what kind of potential of calling in new abundance is out there in getting into ASEA and distributing ASEA?
Yeah, well, there's so many answers to that, and I'd say first it starts with the practitioner because if you are a healer and you are in that space, you have to keep your own system strong and well. And so when you add ASEA into your own daily routine, you're going to be able to give in a different way. You're going to be tuned in a different way. It's going to be just another level for yourself. And then for your clients, for people that you're working with, they're coming to you because you are an expert in what you do. And so they already have a trust there. So being able to say, look, I've come across something that is a massive discovery, a breakthrough in health, and it can support your body in between our treatments or to help the physical body stay well. It's just what a powerful modality to bring in that'll dovetail with what you're already doing. I mean, I remember the acupuncturist that shared it with my mom. She said, in all of my years, I've seen nothing I've been able to do can touch some of the things that I'm watching this touch. And this is just taking my treatments to the next level because it's going in on this foundational level, right? And helping just the communication in the body. So a lot of the practitioners that I know, this is sort of like, okay, we're going to do many things, but number one, get ASEA into your system. Let's get redox into your system. Let's get everything communicating well so that all the other things we layer in on top of it will go. So that's just the health aspect. But when you speak about abundance, to me, this is where it's like we have two gifts within ASEA because the gentleman, his name is Vertus Norton, that founded ASEA. And it's interesting if you go into his backstory, and there's a video out there online called The Genesis of ASEA. And I encourage everybody to watch it. It's kind of dated now. It's maybe 12 years old. So some of the images make me laugh with how it was edited. But the heart and soul of how this all came into being is captured. And I think the purpose behind something, the why, the intention is really important. And this company came into being because, well, they were going to sell the patents and the intellectual property to make the redox to a
Mm.
pharmaceutical company. That was actually like the original play. And they were set up to sell it, multi-million-dollar offer. We're talking like generational wealth. And it became clear during negotiations that the company was going to ask them to stop their beta test group and stop production. And they said, this isn't something that's going to be coming to market. And Curtis, he said, well, I think it's a bit harsh. He said, that's Curtis. And he said, there's a lot of people that this has shifted their health in a big way. I can't look them in their eyes and take this away from them. And, the pharma company kind of said, well, people have been doing the best they can for a long time and they'll be all right. He said, no, they won't. And he walked out on that offer. And he said, I'll figure out another way to get this to market. And he came out of retirement and he spent like a year trying to figure out how do you get something that looks like salt water with the term redox that is not common knowledge. But Andrew, I agree with you. This will be in every household. It will be. It's just, the question is just when. But with what this does and what we know that it does, it's just a matter of time. And so how do you make that happen without the common knowledge being there? And so he landed on word of mouth. And so they founded ASEA as a network marketing company. And so it's like you've got this biotech company with this incredible breakthrough, and they're coming to market through word of mouth. And to me, I think this is a massive gift because that industry, and it's been done badly and poorly, and there's a lot of downside to some of the ways that people have abused it. But if you look at it when it's done well, it's like, I have friends that call it the economy, because you create abundance for others and yourself. We're all connected. And so as you share, you help somebody improve their life, you're given a check from the company, because the company's saying, thank you for helping us grow. Thank you for helping us get the word out there. And then your friend that has a great experience, they share it and they refer. And so then they get a thank you. And so do you, because you're a piece of that link. And so it's like a team sport. I mean, everybody wins. There's absolutely no downside.
Right.
And so it
Right.
just creates this beautiful abundance. And I would say, to me, it's a community that gets built, because what happens is all these like minds come together, all these practitioners, all these people like yourself. I'm so happy it's found its way into your world. Um, they come together, and like, we can do so much more as a strong community with more voices out there, and we can really shift the way that people look at their health and can get support for their health. And we need more people doing that. And when we kind of find one another, right? I think we're all beacons, and we're all beacons of light out there. But as different lighthouses start to come together, the world gets brighter. And I think that's happening in ASEA right now. I mean, just the fact that you and I are having this conversation tells me that, like, the time's come. The world is going to find out about this, and we need more people to keep bringing the word out. So that's what we do. That's the business model. And it's like, wow, it's like you get both. And I think, when someone has what they need financially, for me, after my car accident, being unable to work, that was probably the most traumatic thing, was that I couldn't earn an income. And so
Right.
it really was like, what do you do? And I thought, well, never again do I want to be in a situation where it's my time that I have to exchange to earn an income. Because what if I can't put the time in? Like I couldn't after my injury. And so I thought, how do you create something like that? And I started asking the question, and then I went, whoa, the model that ASEA has, right? If I share ASEA with someone, they're going to continue to drink it, even if something were to happen to me. It's just
Right.
like, it's so beautiful. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's something that a lot of people misunderstand, that industry, and it can be really a powerful thing. It has been for me, and I didn't know anything about the industry really, but with what I've been able to do, getting paid in
Yeah.
goosebumps than any of it, but it's nice to have that stability and the peace of mind also that I've created with the financial side.
Yeah. And now, right, I'm sure that you have just lots of time to be able to take like just epic travels. You can literally you could literally go to Japan tomorrow and do your work from there and connect with people. And yeah, you're completely, I would imagine, very flexible.
Yeah, that's what's been really nice, is because it was intentional, right? It didn't happen overnight, but when, if you want a different life, you got to take a step today towards it, or else it's never going to come.
Yeah,
And so
sure.
I want a lifestyle where I can be flexible with where I'm living and with what I'm doing in case something were to happen, or I got the desire to go somewhere. And so, yeah, it's really cool, because just this last fall, I moved back to Florida, and I live in the middle of the Ocala National Forest. I'm 30 minutes from a grocery store, and there's not jobs around here. But I love nature. Nature is what it centers me, and so to be able to be in the space that I'm in is so profound for me, to be able to make that choice and know that I didn't have to give up being able to be a productive member of society and do all the things that I'm wanting to do to help the world. I can do it from here.
Yeah,
It's really cool to see that, that dream I had, it's come into reality.
yeah. And I want to say my own thing about multi-level marketing, MLM, right? It has gotten this kind of bad rap, I think, with a lot of brands that were not conscious and that
Yeah.
were not necessarily working for the planet, but primarily just for, dividends and profit. And for me, it resonates deeply when we calling multi-level marketing like, the fifth dimensional economy, because we can look at multi-level marketing as, of mushrooms, the mycelial network, kind of just connecting everything, which is all the trees, all the soil, all the micromatter of the soil, and it's making this connection. And I feel and see the same thing with what ASEA is doing, kind of this just giant bridge of connections, just sinking everywhere,
Yes.
and just continuing to get just an amazing thing that could never be distributed by the mainstream, big pharmas and medical system. Because why? Because it fucking works. And it's amazing.
The issue? Oh, interesting. No, we don't want to do that.
Yeah. Are people actually like healing and changing their lives to that? Yeah, we got to chop that. We got to, attack that company, make sure they go under, do whatever they can to get them sued.
I
It's
know.
just, yeah. I mean, we live in a time where so many people that did amazing work 50 years ago, obviously, they were found out and their families were threatened or they disappeared. It was either one or the other, or they got bought out.
Yeah.
So, right, we live in a time where there's so many people doing amazing work that time is over, and we're so divinely guided and protected. And I think I really do see this mycelial network with ASEA and people changing their mind and their perception of multi-level marketing, that it's actually not a bad thing, but actually a beautiful thing of getting to send out these connections in this mycelial network to get more people kind of working together in community, which is where we're going in the world, right? We're moving out of the suburbs, we're moving out of the big cities, and we're coming back together into harmony with Earth and how we used to live, walking on the forest floor, getting our feet grounded, drinking spring water, and just simply having a deeper connection with Mother Gaia like we used to.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautifully said. And I think it's interesting, the Vertus's son, Tyler, he heads the board and runs the company. And he talks about ASEA as NLM. Of course, it's a play on words, but there's so much to it. He says it's next level marketing. We're
Right.
moving from a space of trying to convince people to just being convicted about what we have and, not presenting to someone, but being present with them and seeing how we can serve. And he has a whole, he did a whole talk on it. And the whole time I was getting goosebumps and I went, oh my gosh, like he gets it. This is the space that we've moved into. And here's a company that's aligned in that holds those principles, holds those values, and they call it their ethos, the soul of the organization. And they said, look, we got founded because we kept our P over our E. We kept people and principles and purpose above
Right.
our own ego and above the economics of the situation. And they've always said, if we keep that in alignment, we will do great things. And I just think what a beautiful guiding principle, right? When you
Oh
do right by
yeah, resonates so deeply. I got full body, just like yes.
yeah, yeah. I'm so happy that this has found its way to you and that you're a part of this. It's only going to help build up this community and turn it into what, this vision that they had, gosh, 12 years ago, founding this company on these principles. Like the right people are being drawn in to bring life to that. And so I'm honored to know that you're a part of that and to work with you. That's been part of the fun, is the community that I've gotten to meet along the way,
I
nationally
or
even. People around the world that are on our similar mission, and boom, now we're finding each other.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And there's so many people out there that have products, different CBDs, and different. There's so many different supplements, and a lot of them are great. But I genuinely say this with such realness and authenticity. I haven't come across anything that I've been more excited about than this, because of its simplicity and because of how many people it could help who are even like, there's no way I can't take any herbs that will affect my pharmaceuticals. It's like, no, this has zero effect, and it can even help someone who's so on the other side of the coin, to
Yeah,
just be like, just try this, talk to your doctor. They'll literally, you can see that it's not going to contradict anything, and they're going to see the results, whether it be a couple weeks or whether it be 3 months, but they're going to see the results and feel dramatically more vibrant and healthy if they're just willing to literally try something
yeah,
uh, new. So I'm really excited to get this out to a lot of different people who hold ceremonial space like I do, and a lot of people who are in the health space, from doulas to midwives to
yeah.
acupuncturists, just anyone who's literally here to raise the consciousness of Earth.
Yes. I can't wait to see the impact you make. The ripple effect. I mean, that's the beautiful thing. That's the 5D economy. I mean, that is what happens. Like the ripple effect that comes out from what you do is just massive. Like you're going to touch lives that you'll never know by name. And like, what a profound thing to get to do. It's It's super exciting, and it's interesting because for people, like you said, on the other side of the coin, like the science is also, it's there, so people need that and they're looking for that. Like it's here. Like this is a biotech company. You're gonna get what you need. But I always tell people like, well, it's safe. It can't hurt. It's gonna do something different for everybody. So like, let's try it. Proof's in the pudding. Let's see what it's
Yeah.
gonna bring you. And it won't contraindicate with anything, right? Like what's in that beautiful blue bottle is in you right now. So you take it,
Right.
your body knows what to do with it. It's non-toxic. The only thing that can happen is you can stir up a detox, which isn't a problem, right? That's a good thing. It's a healing crisis as your body gets rid of things, and it's a profound thing to have happen. But that's like the downside's the upside, right? So that's beautiful.
Yeah. Danielle, I'd like to visit this one more time just to give clarity to the listeners. So if someone was to ask you, but Danielle, how does ASEA, how does salt water come from the body? How could you paint a picture to really allow them to understand how it comes from the body?
Yeah, so it's made like the body takes these building blocks. I literally visualize like sodium and chloride, salt, hydrogen and oxygen, water. Your body, in every nanosecond of the day, it's breaking those molecules apart. And then you've got, free floating elements. Think about if I gave you 4 letters, you could make a lot of different words, right?
Right.
Because you combine them in different ways. And so that's what happens in your body. The body takes and it makes maybe like one we all know is hydrogen peroxide, right? 2 hydrogens, 2 oxygens, H2O2. It's very similar to water, H2O, but with one more oxygen, you make a very different molecule with a very different function and role in the body. And so that's what's happening. The body is just, recombining, doing all this stuff. And then boom, those new molecules go out and they do their work in the body, whatever it is. Maybe it's signaling where there's damage. Maybe it's turning on genes that have been turned off, flipping the light switch inside
Right.
of the cells. And so that's what, it's doing. And all ASEA has done is taken the same building blocks, and it takes them 3.5 days to go through it. There's actually a video of the production facility if people wanted to watch it. And you can see what they do to, again, just break the bonds apart, reformulate. So you have these different molecules. And the term redox, it's just reductant and oxidant, put together. And it's just reductants are net negative, oxidants are net positive
Right.
when you
Okay.
make the combination. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically you could just say sodium chloride, H2O, and it comes from the body. Those are made in the body.
Yeah.
And even that level of simplicity is still like, but really? That's it? It's like that's it.
Well, people ask all the time too. Well, like I'll just go make salt water. Like I used to live by the beach. Well, Danielle, I'll just go to the beach and get some. And I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not saline anymore. But it's like when you bake a cake, you put in flour and sugar and eggs. So like you look at the ingredients, it doesn't say angel food cake. Like the ingredients say flour and sugar and all that stuff. But then you add energy, right? And all of a sudden these different chemical reactions happen. Whatever, you get a beautiful angel food cake. The same is true here. You put in saline, but then you add energy, you rip these bonds apart, you reformulate. And now what happens on the other end are these redox molecules. And it's actually, there's a certification on the back of the bottle from Bioagilitics. I don't know if you've even noticed that, but it says redox certified. And so this is a third-party laboratory. ASEA didn't have to do this, but they wanted people to know, look, you're not drinking saline, you're drinking redox. And so they went out to this third-party verifier and said, look, will you test our batches of ASEA to make sure that it has the presence of redox in there and that people know that that's what they're purchasing. And I tell everybody too, like you could just spray it in your eyes, right? You spray salt water in your eyes, it doesn't feel good. Put ASEA in your eyes, feels pretty nice. The at-home way to know that it's redox and not salt water.
Yeah. Could go down to the beach and just come back. You're gonna be like, Your C is gonna be like, ooh, that's a lot smoother. Okay, there's definitely a difference. Definitely a difference. Well, Danielle, I'm really happy to drop into this conversation. I think this is going to be really insightful for a lot of people. A lot of my people trust deeply of what I say, and I think this is going to bring a lot of clarity. There's a reason why I'm so excited about this because I feel the vibration of this supplement. I feel the vibration of this product and what it can do for people who are extremely already excited about life and on the ascension spiritual path and people who are not. And I think I'm really excited about the simplicity, just like we talked about, just like the breath. And I think it really is going to be like this just connective grid that's just going to continue to to get out to people, and that excites me. I get up every day because I get excited about bringing people back to their bodies and back to the fact that they are unconditional love and universal consciousness, literally wrapped in a skin encapsulated ego flesh bag. And I think this can be a beautiful bridge and helping people realize that they are infinite and that they're so powerful. And so, yeah, I'm happy to bring, really really grateful to bring clarity and to have you on the show today. And so I want to ask you the last two questions that I ask all my guests, and that is, uh, if you were to feel into this planet decades from now, when we're living in a different existence, what do you see, and what do you feel for this planet?
Mm. I see empowered people. That's what I see. I see people that have that have realized that there is a light and a deep, deep power within them, and they are standing in it. And so everyone is in this bright, beautiful, like that's what I see. I see each of us as just this beautiful beacon and standing fully in it. And so I see the world as bright and beautiful, and it's a really exciting thing. And I cannot wait for it to come into existence. But I feel that it already is. I mean, like I said, I see these lights turning on, and I see people popping up and starting to stand in their power and realize like everything is within. And all we need to do is get quiet, tap in, tune in, and you have what you need. And I think, teaching people that is what I know I'm here to do, helping people see that. And I get to do it through my work with ASEA and other things. And it's like, it's so exciting to know what's coming because I've gotten to walk the path a little bit myself and to feel that empowered feeling. I mean, that's everything. And to just, self-actualize and self-realize.
Yeah, that literally is it. It is everything. When you feel that moment of, oh my gosh, I'm not powerless, I'm not hopeless, I'm not dying, I'm not sick, because that's how I felt. So I felt when my life fell apart through my health, and then I found breath work, and I was like, oh my God, like I had it here all along. I just forgot.
Yeah.
I just didn't know about it. And then I was just like, oh my, I have to teach everyone. I have to teach humanity about this thing called the breath. It's breath play, as I like to call it, not even breath work, because I call it breath work, but right, that's so people can. I might, who knows? This year I might even be shifting it to breath play. We'll see. But
I
right,
like
that play gives it that childlike energy. That it
Yes.
doesn't have to be work. It can be playful, and we can play with our breath to move stuck energy and continue to, call in new knowing and new wisdom and new deeper connections with our body and with the universe.
Yeah. I think I love the play idea. I think that spirit, that childlike spirit, is why I love my dog. Like he's always in that space of like happy, joyful, exploring, and like that's a powerful place to be in. I
Yeah,
think it holds a very high vibration, and so if you have people in that space and looking at it in that way, yeah, I think you're going to see great results.
yeah, could not agree more. Okay, Danielle, and the last question. So, if you were sitting in front of someone who is maybe going through a very challenging, dark time, maybe losing all of their illusions, falling, collapsing around them, their health falling apart, and they were having a hard time seeing what we're talking about, seeing the beauty that lies ahead, what words would you share with them?
It's always darkest before the dawn. And there's something called the law of polarity that I have learned. And so when I'm going through challenging situations, I always ask myself, well, what is this challenge making possible? What am I meant to learn here? Because once I learn it, I know that I'll swing equal and opposite in the other direction. And that's how life works. We're on this pendulum. So even when good things are happening, good things are flowing, I also know, okay, the next challenge is about to come because that's how it goes. It's the law of polarity. We swing. Just like there's day, there has to be night. We have both. And so nothing is good or evil, right? Don't look at it that way. I would say, look, realize that it's happening for you. And until you realize that and get out of this mindset that it's happening to you and that you're a victim in this situation, like I had that mindset for a long time when I lost my health with my accident. And then I realized, no, 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 something's happening here for me to realize. And when you start asking different questions, you get different answers. And all of a sudden, the world shifts externally once you start shifting internally. But it can be hard work, and I get it. But there's people around to support you through it. And if you're listening to this, I think you're looking at two people that can help support through it.
Yeah. Full send on the new earth. What a time to be alive. Danielle, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on today. Loved it. It's going to be super insightful for a lot of people that are starting to get very curious of all of my audience,
Yeah.
the people who, follow my work. So I can't wait to release this episode. It's going to be super awesome. I appreciate you coming on.